So our paper is about two things. It's about transformational capacity, and it's about the influence of place attachment and occupational identity. The case study that we have for you is that of the peanut farming industry in southeast Queensland. This region, they are already experiencing the impacts of climate change. It's getting hotter, it's getting drier, and the industry is looking elsewhere growing peanuts. Now, we think that this sort of strategy is potentially transformational because they're going to a brand new environment and people are going to have to undertake massive changes into their lives. So the focus of our work has been to look at this individual scale, try and understand how easy it is for them to absorb transformational change or big change into their lives. And we understand that some people can do this more easily than others. Now, this is a concern for, unless you have a critical mass of individuals, the industry strategy is unlikely to be successful. So our aim was to try and understand why some individuals are potentially better at absorbing change into their lives, and how can we use this information to help the industry develop strategies that were more likely to be successful. So what we did is looked at the adaptation literature and understood that, and propose that there are four foundations for understanding transformational capacity. We look at, number one, how people perceive the risks and uncertainty in approaching change. The second thing we look at is their skill. What skills do they have for experimenting, for refining, for learning, for planning? The third thing we look at is flexibility. Do they have emotional, do they have psychological, do they have financial flexibility? Do they have a buffer in their lives to approach change? And the last thing we look at is their interest in change. Do they have a willingness to contemplate and undertake quite significant changes? So using very standard social science techniques, we were able to measure transformational capacity within individuals and place attachment and occupational identity. And we did this on 69 peanut farmers in southeast Queensland, and this ended up being 88% of the industry, so quite a tight study. What we found is that there was a very strong negative correlation between one dimension of transformational capacity and place attachment and occupational identity. This suggests to us that whilst the literature does say that place attachment and occupational identity are really important for enhancing incremental change events, in the case of transformational change, large change events, these two factors potentially can be quite important negative influences and act as barriers to transformational change. Now, this finding is quite important, or probably quite useful for those planning climate adaptation strategies at the industry level. Up until now, we don't really focus on the individual scale, but what our study shows is that factors such as place attachment and occupational identity can be so strong that they can influence the success of strategies at scales above them.